Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212.
That
And I'm with
sounds
Chris.
That sounds a bit somber there.
Yeah, I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's that, Crow? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll make sure I say that on this cast, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what's up, Hayden?
What's that?
What's up, Mike D?
Yeah, she.
Yeah, shit. You know, I really thought about things, and I want to like episodes, I do. But you can't force it. You can't force it. And I'm trying to think, well, this is quite possibly the worst shit of the season, right? But then I'm like, maybe it's not. But then other stuff that sucked is shit too. So it's like, they both smell bad. But what's the difference? It sucks, basically. I mean, Moffat basically sprayed Febreze on poop. And the Febreze being the Missy segment for 5 minutes. Because this whole episode was like, should have been called Waste My Time. That's what it should have been called.
It seems
Waste
like
my time.
It seems like that's kind of the thing that's been going on with this series, though, is that they put like 90% of the attention of this series into like boring, frivolous stuff instead of focusing on the gem scenes that we have, like you said with Missy in the TARDIS. Like, you know, we have a crap episode that's all kind of filler and cardboard, and then they give us like a really great gem in the episode that's in the last 6 minutes of the episode. Like,
yeah.
Why can't the whole season of that?
Why can't they afford to put her in the damn episode? Like the whole episode. Why couldn't she be there and do comic relief and, oh, I'm with kids, and just throw her sense of humor in the whole entire episode? Why not? Why? Why does she? First of all, one, how many people did the Master kill? Right? In the history of Doctor Who. Two, he killed companions' aunts. He killed companions he killed just about everybody, right? He destroyed the TARDIS. He created a paradox machine. He made like Martha Jones's like parents' dogs. I mean, he tortured Captain Jack every day and killed him every day. Like, and you leave this in the TARDIS. This, the one who destroyed your TARDIS, the one that is like whatever, regardless of this. I mean, I am mad as hell that they are making Capaldi like an effing joke because he's making mistakes, giving regeneration to Davros and the Daleks, mass murderers of billions of people, wants to be friends with Missy. What the hell is going on? Who's writing this stuff? What is going on? He called her a monster, yet she's sitting in his chair. Like, what is happening? And they give us the synopsis for the last episode, like the doctor fails because he fails to keep a promise. But then in the trailer of the next episode, you see Bill asking him to promise to save her life. So you know she's going to die because they ruined it. They ruined it.
No, I love the lampshade.
God damn.
Bill is going to die.
We got our own lampshade member.
I know, I see. What's up, James?
Yeah, but they addressed that with the line that the doctor says at the end with Missy, where he says that's the problem with hope, is that it gives you like, you know, basically like sucks you in, gives you an expectation of wanting something to be different, which is what he's wanting with Missy. But we all know that you know that shit's.
You notice how this episode we're talking about Missy the last 5 minutes. Why are we talking about Missy for the last 5 minutes? Because that's the best thing about the episode.
Yeah.
Because this episode with the you know, a 5-year-old student drew like clay into the stone. Oh, we'll use that, thanks. And the crow saying doctor and monster and all this stuff, and it's just boring. Why is Nardo in a robe? Like, this is what I don't get.
I like how he's in dressing gown. He looks sexy.
But why you were going to risk your life? Every time they travel, you know they're going to get killed. They're going to risk their life. He's in a robe.
Yeah, but that was funny. I actually appreciated that. I found it funny.
I just was like, why is he there?
Like Nardal's kind of like, you know, he's kind of like that stoner buddy you had in college or something that was like always kind of like, you know, well, whatever, you know, not taking things so seriously, kind of like showing up and.
Right.
How about we
What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
How about we go around the panel?
Hold on, James, stop. Okay, James is thinking I messed up. Okay.
How about we go around the panel and ask everyone what they thought of the
Yes, I'm
episode?
sorry, Hayden. I'll go with you first.
I loved it. I thought it was probably one of the best of the season. I actually really liked it.
Did you?
I mean, all the stuff with the
No shit.
It reminded me a lot of Return of the Jedi when they were sitting around telling stories. I liked the guy who was the main Roman. What are they called? What are they called? What are the Roman soldiers called?
Centurion?
Yeah, the main Centurion was actually Han Solo. You're a dead man from The Force Awakens. That was him.
Wow. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I actually liked. I thought the story was actually kind of interesting, and I liked that. I thought the set designs and the actual locations were a lot nicer than this season as a whole. It was nice to not be trapped in a freaking spaceship or like a weird corridor for the whole episode. I like Nardal. I actually like Nardal quite a lot, especially in the road. I thought that was hilarious. That was great. And I thought the ending was a bit weak. How the song was coming out of them because they were still fighting. I thought that could have been explained a little bit better. How the time differentiation worked in there. I thought the ending with Missy was like it was good, but it goes against a lot of Doctor Who's lore and the history of the Master because. To me, it felt like they were a married couple who got divorced because the wife.
Yeah, what's that about? Yeah.
Like, are they?
What's that about? That was weird.
Why do I have this weird theory? Right, we're gonna find out the Master was born a boy. He regenerated into a girl, and the Doctor and him got married, and the Master's actually the Doctor's wife. Why do I have?
Don't even play with that.
Well, I will watch the show again if that.
Don't go there. I mean, what was that thing about him being a Vestal Virgin?
Yeah.
What was that thing about him being a Vestal Virgin? Is that a joke?
I'm really excited for John Sim to come back.
Yeah.
I'm very, very skeptical about what's going on because he's grey and has a beard, and as we all know, the Master had like weird blonde hair and was like dying the last time we saw him. So what the hell's going on here? I don't know. I just don't
stick with the usual light. Let's not give the attention. Let's talk about the episode at hand. Then we can talk about the Master.
I thought the most exciting thing was actually the next time trailer.
Yeah.
With the Master.
Yeah. That was more exciting than the episode itself.
I thought the most exciting thing was the commercial. Sometimes you gotta go wherever. It was like a beer commercial or something. I thought that was the most exciting thing of the episode. No, seriously, Mike D, tell us what you thought. The whole thing. Go into detail if you can. Somehow.
Well, I mean, I just encapsulated what I thought of the whole episode. I did like the music. I thought the music was good. And I thought the cinematography, the location cinematography was awesome. But it was like a deep story. It just was another. I mean, the thing that's really frustrating is this is like Peter's last season, and we've been given like really just. It's like B storylines. It's almost like things that like where writers like they have like a tray of stories that weren't given the green light because they just weren't that great, and it's like they just went into that trough and started grabbing some of these scripts to do because the series really has been it's just been weak.
Why do we have to have a villain every episode that can destroy the entire universe? Like, he'll destroy the Earth, then they'll go to the sun, then they'll go to a star, and then it's a reality bomb. The whole universe is destroyed. Why every episode?
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's the problem is when you have like when you have the threat and like the whole world or the whole universe is going to possibly die or suffer, that's not on a scale that a lot of people can really gauge. It seems like it works a lot better if you have like a group of people and it's like a siege story where you have like 5 or 6 people and then like the Doctor and his companion and you can actually gauge realistically, like, okay, these people are in direct harm's way. How are they going to get out of this? But I mean, like the whole thing about like, well, the Earth is going to do this or the universe is going to do that. Been there, done that many times. It's just not that dramatic. It's a lot better.
There's no stakes. Because every week the stakes are at the maximum. So how are there any stakes if every week the stakes are always the same?
Thank you.
You just can't know.
Yeah.
If it was once every 5 years the universe was going to end, maybe you'd start to go, oh my God, is it actually going to end? But when it's going to happen every week, you're like, I don't even care if the universe blows up.
It's like Cry Wolf, because they do it every episode.
Yeah.
Well, you have time to get to know the supporting characters. It's kind of like the immediate example that comes into my head is like, if you're thinking of like zombies, and you compare Night of the Living Dead, where you have a handful of people in a house, and they're trying to like hoard themselves away from the undead. That, like, you get a lot more dramatic tension from that than you do World War Z, where it's like the whole planet, it's just too big. You know, the threat's too big to where you can't really gauge it on a human level. There's no direct drama with that. It's kind of like, well, you know, okay, well, the whole world, the whole universe, whatever, but it's like, what about now? I'm on this ship. The ship is sinking. We've got like 6 people on this boat. What are we going to do to save the boat? You know, that's a lot more dramatic.
What'd you think, Chris?
I don't like this episode is an enigma to me because there's some things that I like, but it's not many. There's not many things I liked about it. The one thing that kept distracting me from the whole episode, and this is just me personally, the monster of the episode was almost a blatant ripoff of one of the monsters from Pacific Rim. I mean, like almost to a T. I'm going to screen share a picture here because there are several elements that this monster has that are basically from Pacific Rim. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this monster is called Otachi. It was one of the bigger kaiju from Pacific Rim, and it has like the neon stuff and it's reptilian. It's got the neon blue lights. When I saw that this thing had the neon blue lights, I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's inspired from that. But then, like, this is a scene with Otachi's tongues, and it's basically the same thing.
So he stalled off the Pacific Rim totally.
I mean, it was distracting me when I was watching it. I was like, okay, that's just a ripoff from Pacific Rim, but whatever. It still looked cool, so that it didn't really bother me too much. But I was just like, okay, I've seen that before. So
Moffat, like, basically, we can gauge what Moffat's been watching at home based on what he puts in these episodes.
Yeah,
I think he's telling these writers what to write. I think he's telling them what to write.
As soon as I saw the tongues, I didn't know they were tongues. I thought they were like tentacles or something. But then when I saw them come out of its mouth and they had the neon blue on them, I was like, really? That's exactly what they did in Pacific Rim. But the one thing about the episode that really bothered me, and again, it's one of these things that sets the plot in motion, but it's just a really stupid idea. Like, he let Bill go off by herself. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're in the past, okay? you're going into an area where there was just a battle of about 5,000 Roman soldiers, right? What makes the Doctor think that this 20-year-old girl going up to them and being like, hey, are you guys the Roman Legion that came here and just slaughtered everybody? Like, what happens if one of them's like, she's dressed weird, she must be one of them, let's kill her? Or take her as a slave or something like that. Like,
well, why does he think he thought 2 days he was gone? No, she's okay. She found them, or she's fine.
But that's the thing, right? Throughout the whole episode, I'm sitting there like, none of this really would have happened if you didn't let her go off by herself.
Yeah, it's sloppy writing. It's sloppy writing, basically. I mean, you could have had the Doctor and Bill and Arnold go out, and the Doctor maybe sprains his ankle or something, and Bill has to go back to the TARDIS to do something to come back to help him out. And in between where they're at to go to the TARDIS, she encounters one of the Centurions. I mean, like, make it feasible plot-wise. why something's going on. Because as I was watching this, I'm like Chris. I'm like going, okay, Bill's about to walk off. We all know from watching these shows, as soon as they split up, something bad's going to happen. It's like whenever they show up on the space station. I've seen movies recently with this too. They show up on the space station. Okay, well, let's separate. Okay, why?
Yeah.
Because bad things are going to happen. I mean, you're in a unknown environment. The worst thing you want to do is like split up, because what if one group encounters a threat? You want to be with the whole group to retreat back to safe ground. You don't want to be split up where you have to go and rescue them or putting them in danger. This doctor, the way they've written Peter in this is like throughout like this series, he just seems to be so haphazard. Like the doctor's just kind of like, well, I'm here to save the Earth. I've always been his protector. But yet he can't even protect his own companion who's with him. He puts the companion directly in harm's way. But on the other hand, he's so like, the Earth is so important to me. I got to protect people. I got to do this. And he gets so distraught at the end of this episode about the fact that the Centurions are going to go back through that time gate. And he's like, no, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. Well, he cares so much about these relative strangers he just met, but he lets Bill walk off haphazardly, and he knows Bill. Bill's like a friend. He's known for a while. He doesn't care about that possible danger. I mean, it makes no sense. It's sloppy writing.
And also, there's episodes where we don't care if they live or die, these people. Now he wants to risk his life for them. That's weird.
This was another thing, too, though, right? Like, they said that, okay, they let people into this cave or whatever that was, the rip in the dimensions where these things were coming from. And one person was able to keep this thing at bay. It's my understanding that they let this thing out to take care of the Roman soldiers, right? So one person can keep this thing at bay, but 5,000 Roman soldiers can't?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Trained,
because they had moved and developed as characters, and they were powerful now. Am I the only one who thought this was the same plot as last week with the cowardice soldiers?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
basically
the whole plot of the Empress of Mars? It was about cowardice soldiers who had to realize they weren't cowards even though they ran away.
Yeah.
That was what the whole thing was about, with him realizing he wasn't a coward even though he got hung and everything in the Empress of Mars.
Let me get James's opinion.
Yeah. First of all, last week, the Ice Water episode, the universe wasn't going to blow up, so I will make that point. They were just going to kill some...
well, you know what I mean, James. Most of the time they do that lately.
Well, they do that usually in finales, but yeah, sometimes it has been more prevalent. I'll give you that. On the episode, I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it was terrible. It was just mediocre. But the soundtrack was very good. Very spooky.
I agree.
And also, everyone says the last 5 minutes, but the last 5 minutes was excellent. It was. And Nardole, I tell you what, if Nardole wasn't in this episode, I would have given it a 3 out of 10. Because of Nardole, I give it a solid 6 because he's just funny. He brings like a light-hearted mood to everything. Everything he does is just funny. The popcorn thing, the scene where he's just talking to the tribesmen, like just having a talk with them, the doctor comes out. Those things made it enjoyable for me. But apart from that, it was kind of rubbish. It's not a good story. Anyone who says it's a well-written story it isn't very well written. But a lot of the cast makes it quite watchable. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Maybe for the last 5 minutes. The Missy scenes are very intriguing. And also, may I say, next week's episode is very surprising. I didn't expect it to be like that. I thought it was going to be on Mondas right away, but it looks like...
Well, I'm very worried about that. Because we're
going to be clowning around for 30 minutes doing not much. And
like he may disappear at the end.
Oh, you mean John Sim? Oh, yeah, that's 100% certain.
Yeah. The last 5 minutes, he'll probably be like Missy, the last 5 minutes.
Well, most people didn't expect him to appear till finale until recently, so, anything's better than nothing. The thing I'm worried about is the Mondasian Sidemen not appearing that much. It looks like, from the trailer, that we're not going to get much of them.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I have a bad feeling that this episode ain't going to be what we think it is, and it's just the finale. The last part is everything, which I don't know.
And it don't make sense. It looks like the first 30 minutes is going to be Missy, with the thing, whatever they're doing with her. I think that's completely.
They're going to joke around with her for like 15 minutes, 3 minutes at least.
No, I think it's going to be most of the episode, and I think that's pointless. And it means they're going to have to rush everything in the last episode, which won't be very good. Then again, it might be really good. I'm still optimistic, and even 1 second of the Mondasius album makes me happy.
Am I wrong? But I think that if you actually took this episode and made it all about what was going on in the TARDIS, preparing us for the next 2 episodes, and having a dramatic dialogue between the Doctor and Missy and building that up, I think that would have been a lot more entertaining and compelling than watching what we saw. It's almost like this episode solely existed just to have filler, and then they just put in the main part at the very end. I would have loved to have seen what went on, because they really have not done a great job of making you sympathize with Missy to where you have an emotional connection with that character, and what is going on with the Doctor trying to believe in her and believe that she's trying to turn good. It seems like they're really depriving the audience of that. I'd rather see that story than this filler shit.
Right. It's quite rushed, isn't it? Like they're just tagging it on. I think that if they did what you suggested, it probably would have been a classic. One of those episodes like a lot of people like Heaven Sent, right? It'd be like that, or possibly Deadly Assassin Good. Just a full.
I would have liked it if the episode, like Missy got involved at like we started here at 9:00, right? If Missy would have got involved at 9:20 and just killed the alien or something, right? And then they go back to the TARDIS and it's just Missy the rest of the half of the episode, and then a lead into the Cybermen, like maybe they're coming to something. That would have been better. But no Missy throughout the whole episode except for 5 minutes was horrible. They could have been so much. I mean, if you slept for 45 minutes, that's when it started getting good. Like 45 minutes or 40 minutes into it. Like it's like, all right, at the end he's talking to them, and it's like, but like it was just walking around. I don't know what the hell.
I mean, okay. I'm not going to try and defend some of the scenes in this episode. The walking scenes were horrendously bad.
What about the Vestal Virgin? He's talking about he was a Vestal Virgin. Like, do we really need stupid one-liners in there like that? Like, they don't allude to anything. It's like wasted.
I think the. I mean, I did mention the soundtrack, but the soundtrack does deserve justice because a lot of I think music in Doctor Who has been dwindling over the years.
Well, that's Martha's fault. They don't want to pay Murray Gold to do new stuff.
People, I think a lot of Doctor Who fans would do independent music for free for the show because it has a massive fan base. But the music was brilliant in this episode, absolutely brilliant, and that kind of kept me going. And there were some good scenes with Bill and the Romans, under the tunnels. It was, I think, the scene where, and it's actually quite historically accurate as well, because the Romans did actually tolerate things like gay stuff, and
why is that part of an episode period like this? Every episode they're bringing up a sexuality. A lot of episodes they're bringing up a sexuality, but there's no place for it. Just like an oxygen.
The Romans
like racism thing.
Because when the show came out in the 1960s, they'd always do historical accurate things to teach people, and this is actually true. The Romans did actually tolerate things like that back in the day. So I liked it, personally. It wasn't too overbearing. But I do agree with you. They keep mentioning the gay thing every episode. I don't think they need to keep mentioning it every episode. But
yeah, they didn't need to do
mention it in a good way.
Yeah. They didn't need to have Bill again saying, "Oh, sorry, I'm lesbian. I don't like men." Like they've done that like 3 times already. Like it just felt like.
Yeah, I would have preferred if this was the only time they did it, but the earlier times of the season they cut them out because they're just tedious. This one actually had a plot point. It made sense.
Well, it's funny. If I could just add something, I can continue for a second, James. It's funny how right before that scene happens, they had a commercial where I guess they're supporting, like, the gay and lesbian community.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And they showed Captain Jack sticking his tongue down some other guy's throat. They showed lesbians kissing. They showed this. Love everybody. And this is like the gay way. And the next thing you know, back is Doctor Who, and Bill's talking about, I don't like men. And it's like, oh, come on. What are you trying to say?
The thing about the
God.
whole gay aspect of the show is, it's whatever, fine. But the thing is, it's been done before, and Moffat's treating it as if he's the first one to ever create a gay character on Doctor Who. You know what I mean?
It's Harry Jones, Prime Minister.
Yeah.
I'm Harry Jones. We know. Bill's like, I'm gay. We know. Every episode, we know.
It almost seems as if Moffat himself is homophobic because he feels the need to keep saying, I'm accepting of gays. It's like, Moffat, we understand. Captain Jack was gay in season 1, and we all accepted it from the first second we saw him. Like, you don't need to shove it down our throats that Bill is gay and I'm the one who created the gay character on Doctor Who. It's like, it's fine. Just say she's gay once, have a girlfriend, and then we don't have to keep bringing it up every time a man falls in love with her.
But it's not just a gay thing either. It's, I'm black. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
She's like, you're blue, but I'm black. And I know about racism. Okay, thank you, Bill, for that history lesson.
Well,
or like even thin ice. She's like, I'm black here. It might happen. And he's like, we just stop every episode.
3 times this season. They did it in Thin Ice. They did it in last week with the Black Soldier in Empress of Mars, and they've done it again this week. It's like, he's trying to be a social justice warrior, but it actually makes him look like the racist homophobe because he has to point it out every week.
Now, what's with the holding hands with Missy and the Doctor crap? Like, you went to almost kissed him or something. I'm like, what is it? Wait.
That's not the Master. The Master would not hold hands with the Doctor.
The Master would. It depends what version of the Master it is. Hold on. It depends what version of the Master it is. The Master has gone through times in his lore where he's a bit more mellowed. And you remember the Master never wants to kill the Doctor, always wants to battle and just wants to impress the Doctor.
Wow, I don't know about that.
So it may be, I think it's probably just a scheme she's doing to try and, get on his good side and then do something bad. I mean, it would make more sense, like Mike said, if we had a full episode dedicated to it, because it's really confusing.
This season's going to go down in history as a season called Half-Ass. Because half Missy, half Bill, half Nardo. Like, stop it with the little... Nardo was in the episode for 3 seconds, but now he's in full episode in here. Missy's in the episode for 5 minutes. This one's in the episode for 5 minutes. It's like, stop.
Well, on to that point, too. When you really look about where we are in this season, look at last season. At this point last season, we had Face the Raven, which I thought was a good episode. I liked that episode. And then we were going into Heaven Sent, which looked amazing even from the trailers. Yeah. Right? Now you look at this episode, which is right before the first part of the finale, and it's like, does anybody really care?
Well, I think it will be good. Like, we've got to remember, this is Moffat's final finale, so it's going to be something big, even if it doesn't look big. He's going to shock us somehow, and I think Moffat's such an egotistical maniac, he's going to give us something good, even if we aren't expecting it, because it may look like a nothing episode, but I think it may end up being something.
Well, let's talk about the trailer real quickly. You can clearly see that Bill is one of the, what's the name for those people again? Under the Mondas assignment. I can't remember the name of them. But she's one of the partially converted. She's got the robe on. Do you see it in the trailer? She's walking down the corridor with all the other ones. I can't remember what they're bloody called.
Right, I get you. What you're trying to say.
She's one of them. She's like, well, she's not one of them, but she's dressed. They seem to be highly
alluding. The Master, though, he's like going to be converted too.
Yeah, they seem to be in this trailer highly suggesting that something's going to happen to Bill. I think we're going to switch on us and do something to Nardo. Which makes sense because we've been told we'll find out stuff about Nardo this season. Not a lot of time left, so it must be when we find out if he dies or something. The Doctor doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? They'll probably go down that road.
I don't know.
I would have the trailer.
Obviously, I'm in the minority here. I've really enjoyed this season. There's been a few weird ones.
I have too.
I didn't like Smile very much.
This
And I just
episode was
find-
my depression 101. Definitely, I would have to say.
No, for me personally, it's still a 6 out of 10 because there's some good scenes. And remember, to the viewers who think 6 out of 10 is hating, 6 out of 10 means above average. So don't be a douchebag.
No. When you say viewers, what viewers are you talking about? A certain party of viewers or the overall consensus of Whovians all over the world? Because
Overall
a lot of
consensus-
people that I know, I saw a lot of people on Facebook today that they didn't give any spoilers, but they absolutely thought it was one of the worst episodes of the season. Now, they're not haters of Doctor Who by far. They watched Doctor Who for like decades, and they're huge fans, so they're not haters of Who or whatever. They just don't think it's not even worth average. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because when I finally saw it, I agree the same thing. There's nothing that happened in the episode. Everything we have in here is the same thing.
Well,
The reality bomb. But
let me point something out too. I'm sitting here thinking, you know, we've had the Master for like decades, an integral part of the series. You know, not as much as the Doctor, but like the Master's character has been like a huge part of the whole franchise. If someone said to you, you know what, we have potentially the Doctor and the Master becoming friends again, and you would go like, wow, you know, they're going to make a big deal about this, and then they don't. It's all relegated to like 5 minutes of an episode, and sprinkles of like prior episodes, just a little bit here and a little bit there. It seems like that really doesn't sit well with me, that they didn't really make a big to-do about this, because they're not building up the drama and emotional effect of the relationship between those two characters, because we know that something's going to get screwed up. And
yeah, they're going to copy Legopolis, because Legopolis, you saw the Doctor would never have an alliance with the Master, and then when they shaked hands, he knew. He's like, oh, you know, you saw that. Anthony Ainley, you saw Tom Baker, you know that he was going to betray him. So what Moffat's going to do is he's going to do a Legopolis at the end of the episode, but with the exception of the Doctor dying, it's going to be Bill. So he's going to copy the classic series.
Devil's advocate. Tom Baker's Doctor hates the Master more than other Doctors for a few very reasons. First of all, Deadly Assassin. The Master does some heinous things, and also to keep a track on when he steals Nissa's father's body.
Right.
But basically, what I'm saying is, there's a reason why he despises the Master.
Yeah, but there's also history before that when he was John Pertwee.
Yeah.
But there's not a respected build-up to what we are seeing. It's all like 5 minutes. It's behind closed doors.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like it's like they drop us into a room where the Doctor's with Missy like 5 minutes in an episode at the very end. This is like a big deal. They should have built this up more. They should have had the audience. They should have had the audience knowing that and respecting the audience, and respecting the fact that this audience of this franchise and the history of this character with the Master and his or her relationship with the Doctor, that, you know, they need to build it up more. They need to get the audience more invested with the fact of going, hey, you know, is this character going to actually go legit? And even if we know that the Master's not going to be legit, build it up to a point to where we realize, you know, that when inevitably they're going to have Missy do something, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, we are invested in this character, and we're going to feel let down. You know, it's good writing to do that. They're just like tacking this on like it's nothing. Like, well, whatever, you know, like.
They should have had a Doctors Revisited, where they should have showed every single appearance with the Master and the Doctor on the weekends or marathons. They should have had a BBC special about the Doctor and the Master, and they've been enemies for forever, and then what's going to happen next week. And all this build up, they could have had trailers everywhere and everything, and they have nothing. It's just like, all right.
Well, is that not true, really? That we've been invested with the character of the Master / Missy. But I mean the Master, like whoever that, you know, Missy, Master, whatever.
The Master. She's the Master.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the Master from here on, because obviously it's the same person, Missy the Master. Yeah. we've had this relationship between the two of them, friends, enemies, foes, whatever. But they've relegated this to being like, it's not even a B storyline. It's like something that goes on off camera that we're not even aware of. And it's like, we are not emotionally invested as viewers with what's going on. And that they give you an episode that's like cardboard. And they could have made the whole episode building up to what's going to go on, because we know that Michelle Gomez is going to regenerate. Missy's going to die. So, I mean, build this up. Don't give us like a little sliver of something where it's like, apparently off camera, something we haven't seen between episodes and adventures, that all of a sudden, the master's wanting to go good, wants to understand the fight for good or whatever and do things good. And the doctor's like got some hesitation about things. He's hopeful for being able to maybe change the master, bring the master around to realizing that there's a greater benefit to doing good than evil. But we haven't seen that. That would be so much more dramatically satisfying as a viewer watching this show, would it not? Am I wrong?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah, well, instead of wasting Extremis on a virtual simulation that doesn't actually go anywhere and everyone forgets it, they could have used that whole episode to be about.
I disagree. I would have removed Pyramid at the End of the World. That is a horrendous episode. Get rid of that.
Yeah, but Extremis never happened, though.
Yeah, but Extremis has good scenes. It has build-up.
But nobody remembers it. It never happened, though.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it intertwines with the other episode better than Pyramid at the End of the World. Pyramid at the End of the World is complete filler. It's garbage. So get rid of that. Make that part of the long story. And make this episode, instead of being episode 10, make it episode 9. And then next week's would have been, you know the trailer where you see Missy with the training and stuff? Make that an entire episode and then make the finale.
That should have been the halfway point. Or doing that. But you know what I got from the 5 minutes we saw? I'm like, this is not Missy and the doctor. This is Michelle Gomez, and this is Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi's forced out that he has to leave as the doctor. He doesn't know what kind of emotions he's showing. This is Michelle Gomez being Michelle Gomez. She wasn't Missy. She wasn't doing crazy stuff. She's crying. She's being like whatever. And it's like, what am I watching here? They're holding hands. She's about to kiss him. I'm like, wait a minute. They said they're not like animals. They're not like, there's no love thing or whatever. And now all of a sudden, like, what's going on here? It's a thing where they're both leaving. She's leaving because he's leaving. And I really didn't believe from her performance for the first time that she was acting like Missy. It was like, I don't know what she was trying to be. And I don't know where Moffat's going with this.
Well, I think it's been a bit of a trilogy. Like, Series 8, she's completely evil, right? Series 9, she's kind of semi-evil, but building somewhere.
Well, she tried to kill Clara, so she's still evil.
Yeah, that's still, well, to be fair, I was very happy about that. I was like, yes, kill her. But, that was just me.
Right.
Yeah, I hate Clara. Get rid of her.
She was kind of in between. She was playing both sides, right? She's not completely evil. And now it's full circle. What are you going to say, Mike? Sorry about that.
No, you were talking. There may be a slight delay on my side, so... The thing is, to me, like, when Nardole entered the TARDIS, and he was, like, freaking out, like, no, this is wrong, no, she should not be out, what's going on? They did not build that up to where you would actually, as a viewer, go, well, I sympathize with Nardole, like, I understand what he's saying, or I sympathize with what the Doctor's trying to accomplish with the Master. And they did not build that up to where... for dramatic effect as a viewer watching the episode and go, well, wait a minute. I actually, do I actually agree with the Doctor? Because I hope that Missy could be brought around to being good, much like the Doctor is espousing. But I also understand from Nardole's point of view that Nardole's like being the voice of reason and saying, hey, a little bit too much too soon. Like, do we really trust Missy at this point? And they're it's just like dropped into an episode. They're not like building it up.
It's like the Great Intelligence. They didn't have him appear a couple episodes, and he was the big bad of the finale. It was
there was two things that, like, when I saw that Misty scene, that I was just like, what? Well, not even just the Misty scene. The scene where Nardole sees her in the TARDIS. It's like, okay, last week you let her out of the vault into the TARDIS, so
right. And she never went back
Cool your
to the
jets
vault.
there,
She
Nardole.
was in the TARDIS the whole time.
Yeah, it's like cool your jets there, Nardole, okay? Because you let her out too. That's A. And then B, the Doctor, and from what we've seen, he's been kind of hesitant about trusting Missy, and he's not completely sold on her being good. Yet he leaves her in the TARDIS.
Yeah,
By herself.
As a viewer watching this episode, it is completely the way that they have written things and peppered in Missy throughout this season. It is completely unrealistic as a viewer to look at this and say that the Doctor is doing anything other than being stupid by letting Missy have access to the TARDIS console room and let her out. It makes no sense at all.
He let her into the engine room. And I'm sitting there thinking, how many different ways could she have sabotaged the engines of this thing?
Yes.
Like, I mean, she could have, for all we know, he could get in the TARDIS and then start it up and it could explode. And just kill everybody. And then it's like, well, you let her in the engine room.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the rebellion being like, hey, Palpatine, can you go reboot all of our systems so we can blow up your Death Star?
The way that they've gone about writing that storyline in this series is really sloppy. It's really bad. Because you just do not believe that the Doctor can be that stupid and played and manipulated.
Well, obviously, this Doctor doesn't know how to fix a TARDIS, but Matt Smith's fixing it in every other episode. They showed him, and even David Tennant fixed it, turned it from a paradox machine back into a TARDIS. So how does this Doctor not remember how to fix a TARDIS thing?
Well, to be fair, I mean, Captain Jack did shoot the TARDIS to do that. So.
No, but I mean, he knows how to. First of all, if Matt Smith could build a TARDIS from a junkyard, right?
Right.
The 11th Doctor. This Doctor that can't fix anything.
I'm sorry, Chris. What Chris brought up there is just making me laugh. I remember that scene when they go in the paradox machine, and the Doctor's like, "Don't touch anything wrong. One mistake, and it'll destroy us all." And then Jack, later in the next episode, just shoots through the machine gun, and that fixes it. Oh, well, that's Doctor Who for you. No plot whatsoever, but somehow.
No, but that makes sense. If you don't know how to stop it, just destroy it. Just shoot it. And then
that's Captain Jack in a nutshell. I mean,
that's it. I don't have time, Just like in the classic series, there's a breaking shit, whatever. Okay, that's the way to defeat it,
But no, I mean, like when she came up the stairs and he was like, "How are the engines looking?" I was like,
"Wait, I almost threw up." Yeah, I almost threw up.
I was like, "Wait, hold on. You let her in the engine room?"
Oh God, I was
Why?
Like, oh. Moffat's a moron. Moffat wrote that part. That's what Moffat wrote, that whole scene.
I'm holding out hope, and there'll be for there to be an actual explanation for this, if there is.
Yeah, you hold out hope like the Doctor hopes that Missy and himself could dance and chill and have fun.
I'm holding out hope because I really do like the show, as you all do.
Me too. I'm hoping too. That's why we watch it every week.
That's why I know you like the show. It's however, I've got to be honest. I'm more excited about Fear the Walking Dead than Doctor Who.
Oh God, that's sad too. And I like the premiere of that too. But all right, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that now. But yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I just all right. I'm gonna just wait till next week. At least John Sims back.
Well, at least it was cool that he said the Mondasian Cyberman. That is cool.
Yeah, but I don't like him. I don't like
even if it makes no technical sense.
I don't like the master say, "Give me a kiss," or fancy a kiss. I was like,
well, he's clearly saying that to Missy, isn't he? Or Bill, one of the two.
Maybe.
Yeah. Before we go, what's everyone's theories? Why is John Sim back? Who brought him back, and why?
Because Moffat watched the video of him talking to Mark Gatiss, and he's like running out of ideas. He's like, "You know what? What if I did that?"
No, but I mean, like, in the episode, how did he come back?
Well, maybe they're going to do that to explain how he takes control of the Cybermen. Because if you remember Missy's first appearance, she had them under her control. So maybe they tried to screw him over as John Sim, and they tried to absorb him and make him a Cyberman, and he just planted something in them where he can control every single one of them.
Well, wait, hold on a minute. Missy was alone in the TARDIS, right? They were away from the TARDIS. Could she have gone back and acquired John Sim in this episode?
She could not control the TARDIS because it was bio. She said it was bio whatever controlled, where she couldn't control anything But
Well, that's what she's saying. But I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
they could like write a line in the next episode where it's like, "Hello, John Sims Masters here. Hey, guess what? I lied to you, Doctor. Fuck you." You know.
Or basically, I have your DNA from your hand from my laser screwdriver.
I like your Sidemen theory. I think that makes sense. John Sim being prior to Missy, yeah, and that's how she controls him. That makes sense because it was never really explained why the
Yeah,
Sidemen.
it's like a precursor to.
I mean, yeah, maybe
Dark
we're
Order,
not going to see
definitely.
Missy regenerate. Maybe we're going to see John Sim regenerate in this instead. You know.
I kept
and-
saying
and-
he's going to shoot her. I kept saying that John Sim's going to shoot Missy. Because it's going to be an old thing like Doctor Doom. When Doctor Doom saw his future self in the comic, he shot himself and killed himself. He's like, I'm not going to become a loser like that. So John Sim could look at Missy like she's soft, and I'm not going to be that, and just shoot her.
The three things you guys need to consider. Number one, we haven't seen a regeneration of John Sim or Missy yet, which means that there's no actual evidence who comes first.
No, there is evidence of who comes first, because she said, you left me. Meaning, like, he was leaving John Sim with Rassilon going back to Gallifrey. So, it's definitely John Sim was before Missy, without a
Yeah, but
shadow
even
of a
that's
doubt.
inconsistent, though. I mean, he didn't leave her. She walked into the thing when she was John.
Yeah,
Sim.
But that
So
was
it's
like, it was like, no, he left her because she knew that he was in the Day of the Doctor, and it was gonna, and stopped pressing the button, but didn't.
I don't think
Freedom.
that's what they were
Possibly,
implying.
it could be that this Missy, what we have right now, is before the Missy we have in Dark Water, right? And she could be referencing "You left me" to a previous
No,
version.
she has her hairstyle. She's been through hell. She's a later. She's not the Missy before Dark Water. She's
Yeah.
after.
I know. I'm just saying it. You never know with Moffat. He does stupid stuff.
Well, I want them to explain how was she a prisoner of the Daleks for like years with a hairbrush, and then she's a prisoner of the Doctor, and she looks like hell. Couldn't you give her a brush to brush her hair?
See, I think it's very possible that Missy could actually die and regenerate into John Sim.
That's not happening.
Yeah, I'm still.
What's that based on?
Derek Jacobi regenerated into John Sim.
Yeah,
So
but
what do you,
remember, remember they're doing this whole thing where it's like you can go back to faces you liked. So that might not be too far off.
Yep.
There's going to be
Or
two John
perhaps-
Sims in there.
Or perhaps she could be. She could be after John Sim, but she could be way after him. Do you know what I mean? So she's
Well,
not directly after John Sim.
Supposedly, Moffat had said, "How do you know that Missy's direct?" Because Moffat did state that Missy's after John Sim in an interview. He did state that, but he did throw this in there. How do you know, even though she's after John Sim's master, how do you know she's directly after?
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
that's why I said maybe there was a regeneration before that, and then there's her. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Because think about it. John Sim went into, Gallifrey, right, against Rassilon. I mean, that's not really been explained how he escaped anyway. It's not really been explained. Has it been explained?
Nothing's explained.
Yeah, nothing exactly, and that's something that needs to be explained.
They'll
So-
never explain it.
Perhaps, he used up a lot of regenerations just to get out of there. It'd be interesting to see.
Well, you're bringing up an old Doctor Who magazine story that the Master was trapped in space with a black hole and used up a lot of his regenerations to survive that. That was an old comic strip.
Mm.
That actually happened, but in comic canon, it's not canon anymore, really.
Do you notice that we've got 2 episodes left? It seems like they're really trying to rush us to the next era of Doctor Who. Like, another week ticks by, another week ticks by. We've got 2 weeks left. And
Wasn't there an announcement today?
It's like they're rushing it.
I'm sorry, Mike. Wasn't there a midnight announcement, or was that the cover of the 2 Masters on the post?
What, the missing episodes have been found again?
No. They were saying stuff that there was going to be an announcement. What was that? The poster was the announcement?
Yeah, I think it was the poster because it mimics Day of the Doctor, and they were calling it Day of the Master.
Yeah, but I saw one. I've seen a poster like that months ago. Somebody made Day of the Master because they made it to coincide with the 19. What do you call it? the anniversary of the Terror of the Autons and stuff like that. So there are different versions of that. I've seen it about a year ago. Somebody made a parody version of it.
Well, all I know is that after these 2 episodes, there's no Doctor Who until Christmas. So
Yeah, but Game of Thrones
it better be the best 2
soon.
episodes there is. They better be the best 2 episodes there is of the season.
It won't matter because Game of Thrones is back soon, so that's all.
Thank God for that. That's for sure.
I think the next 2 episodes are going to be fucking epic and great, and people are going to be like, "How come we couldn't have gotten that the whole series this year?"
It's going to be the reverse of Series 9. It's going to be at the end. It's going to be the last. At the beginning, like Series 9 had that, and Series 10, it's going to be the end.
Yeah. I think this next episode is going to be a complete cock tease. The first 30 minutes is going to be boring.
It's amazing that she's wearing the same shirt, like the same jacket that she wore in the first episode.
Yeah, is she washing in that? I mean, I suppose Tom Bacon never washed for 7 years.
Well, she was in those clothes for 2 days, if you remember. How did she go to the bathroom in that cave? They were in that cave for 2 days.
She was unconscious.
For 2 days.
Yeah.
No water, no nothing.
Well, they had food there, if you remember. I mean, so...
Yeah.
At least, you see, they explain that, but they won't explain how Misty survives for 6 months.
Well, how did Missy survive in the TARDIS for 2 days if she can't leave the room? She got to stay on that floor. Is there food in there?
I think it's been explained various times that Time Lords don't really need to eat if they don't need to.
Plot hole!
Also, yeah, I think the biggest plot hole in this episode, which was mentioned earlier, is definitely the monster could defeat 5,000 Romans, but 5 jackasses who are not even 18 yet can defeat it. That's get lost.
Well,
Garbage.
Missy preparing the TARDIS is like Luke Skywalker inviting Darth Vader into his camp. You want to see all my rebel friends? We're right here!
And what was this stuff with the crows? Like, what the hell was that all about?
It was really bad.
Like, at the end when Nardole said, "Oh, the crows, they're remembering," I was like, "Nardole, stop talking, please."
Shut up.
Like, see, I came in here to play devil's advocate to make it more interesting, but I can't defend the crows. I just can't. It's nothing. It's just bad.
He's like, "Why? What? Oh, people stopped having conversations with them." I was like, "Are you high?"
Some of that dialogue that the doctor said he's a Vestal virgin, and I'll explain that to you later, Nardole. And then Nardole, oh, I know 10% of your secrets. Yeah, how do you know 10% of his secrets?
Way back
I
when.
don't even know about Missy.
Way back when, Mike, you said you thought Capaldi's doctor was on drugs in this season. I think you're right. I think he's on drugs. I really do. I think there's a room in the TARDIS that he just goes to chill in, and then he goes on these adventures. I mean,
maybe
that's the only way you can explain it.
I think virtually everything.
Either that or he's drunk.
You would not turn the TARDIS over to Missy. I mean, think of how stupid that is with what we've seen so far on camera. That makes no fucking sense at all. You know, the Doctor's known this character for like whatever, you know, like in our time as viewers watching this for like 4 decades plus or whatever, give or take. I mean, that it makes no fucking sense. Like, why would you put the Master? I mean, trying to.
You know what's going to be the most epic scene next episode? It's going to be like that scene that gave you chills when she's like, "Well, I can't call myself the Master now, could I?" And you saw his face of fear. Remember that? You're going to see how he's going to have this thing where he's going to, in his head, he's going to remember promising Bill she's going to live, and you're going to see another flashback of him with Missy believing that she's good, and then you're going to see her Missy kill Bill, and he's going to have this face like you've never seen on camera. That is going to be the most ridiculous thing in history.
If that happened, it wouldn't have much of an impact because, as Mike said, we've had no build-up with this Missy thing. It's just kind of all convoluted at the end of episodes. So it's very...
Well, supposedly people die and don't come back. Like, it's
Think of how this would have played out with Tom Baker and Anthony Ainley, okay? What if we had, like, Tom Baker's doctor and his companions, they come in the TARDIS, and the Master's there, played by Anthony Ainley, and he's, like, just chilling, like, kicking back, reading a book or whatever.
He would have grabbed her shoes and started beating him with it.
It makes no sense. There's no buildup, believably, to where you would even entertain for a moment that you could even trust the Master. It makes no fucking sense at all. It's like the Doctor in this particular incarnation is a complete haphazard buffoon.
And you know what? I'm afraid about that. I'm afraid when it's over, people are going to criticize him like
You
all
got to
his
remember,
mistakes.
Time Lords. It has been suggested that the Doctor's been at that university for a long time, guarding the vault. So perhaps he's just getting really old, like kind of Hartnell-ish, and his body is wearing a bit thin. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Depends how long he's been at that vault.
No, but I mean, Capaldi's Doctor is a healthy, energetic, spry sort of guy, not like William Hartnell. I mean, Hartnell was kind of a doddering sort of grouchy shit. I mean, Capaldi, like, he's legit. I mean, he's running around, he's involved in action scenes, all that kind of stuff. He's not like a feeble, elderly sort of granddad, So
I agree with that. I think I do think he's been at that vault longer than he suggested, and with Time Lords, if they live for hundreds and hundreds of years, they just regenerate anyway. So it depends. Maybe there's something more to his age that we're not knowing about. Because I'm just trying to figure out how he regenerates. Which makes sense. I suppose they could just shoot him.
I mean, too, they did that, during Clara's first season, where the TARDIS was like keeping her out and it didn't like her, but it's okay with the Master now.
Yeah,
That makes no sense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not like, oh, hey, Doctor, that guy that tried to kill you a whole bunch of times and then basically ripped up all of the control panel, made a paradox machine, and then tried to take over the Eye of Harmony and take your regenerations. That guy? He's sitting in your chair. Oh,
Yeah.
no, we're cool with this? Okay, cool.
Well, to be fair,
Doctor.
when he went in the Eye of Harmony, he was eaten by it, according to the movie, and the TARDIS became a woman in the Doctor's wife. So maybe the TARDIS and the Master like each other. I don't know. To be fair, the movie is terrible. I mean,
Even the Doctor's dead hand was bubbling when he was freaking touching it. I mean, come on. The water was bubbling like, oh shit! Like the Master's touching me as Professor Yada. It's like, he's bad news. Come on.
They fucked up a great opportunity in this episode. I would have loved for them, as we talked about earlier, for this whole episode to be in the TARDIS, build it up, make this episode about the Doctor and Misty, and the Doctor could be mysterious about his reasoning for trusting Missy, and they could play that off with Nardole and Bill, where Nardole and Bill are kind of like, hey, this is like a bad idea, Doctor, and the Doctor's like saying, no, I know what I'm doing, and it would leave you as the viewer with emotional investment with what's going on, because you're like, you're kind of torn between the characters. You're like, well, I see from the viewer point of view, we know the Master, we know how Missy is, we can sympathize with what Bill and Nardole are trying to tell the Doctor by saying, hey, you can't trust this person. But then we also, we trust the Doctor and go, well, he should know kind of what's going on. He's always got a plan. There's some game going on, in effect. Maybe he knows something beyond what the companions know, the end game, if you will. But there was none of that. That would have been very satisfying to watch that episode and watch what plays out, instead of getting the Monster of the Week bullshit, boring-ass cardboard story.
It was a crap monster. I'll give you that.
Chris, you want to say anything? Or?
No, I don't know. It's just, the more it's another one of these episodes where the more you think about it, the more it's like, why?
I just think about stuff I enjoyed. I enjoyed every Nardole scene. I enjoyed the Messy scene. I think the worst episode of the season is still Pyramid at the End of the World. It's Abomination.
But we could have had a whole episode with Nardole and Missy, the Doctor, Bill. They could have made the whole episode about what's going on in the TARDIS. Them like talking to the doctor and going like, look, you know, you're way off base about this. Your perception has been manipulated by what's going on with Missy. It could have been very dramatic with this.
Oh, what would make more sense? Maybe if you cut this episode out completely and add it on to the Ice Warriors to make it two-parter and like halfway through.
Well,
You know,
I like the Ice Warriors as a one.
No, I like that one, but hear me out. You know how Nardole goes to Missy? Maybe the second part, Missy arrives to Nardole, and that's like a Missy and Nardole part of the episode, you know, the Ice Warriors? And that's what gains the Doctor's trust if Missy saves the Doctor and Bill. That would have.
I think
that would have made more sense.
They easily could have traded, like you were saying, James. They easily could have traded an episode or 3 episodes. They could have traded Smile, Pyramid at the End of the World, and this one for an episode like that easily.
Definitely this one. This one could go. And Pyramid at the End of the World. Not that it's the worst episode. Like I said, I give it a 6 out of 10 because I really enjoy Nardole and stuff. But there's better episodes out there.
So was the TARDIS not working right based on the fact that Missy was screwing around with the engines in the last few episodes?
Well, she said that you know that she was doing maintenance and that like he was treating them badly. I wonder if that's their explanation for why it screwed up those 2 times.
Well, I want to bring something up.
Yeah.
What if Nardole died in Pyramid at the End of the World, and this is like a copy of Nardole controlled by Missy, and this is just like a whole ruse now with Nardole that, you know, he really died in the TARDIS, and she just, you know, because his head is the only thing that's real. She used the body and created a fake head and programmed it. Sort of like she programmed the Cybermen, you know, where she created something and basically this Nardole ain't the real Nardole. He's just based on brain patterns. And he just actually died in Pyramid at the End of the World.
I suppose.
And the shocking thing is that he turns on the Doctor in the episode because he's part of
Missy's him being bad. I just see him as a good guy.
I know, but it makes no sense. A lot of things that happened to Nardole lately, like him just passing out with the fumes being in the TARDIS. Didn't he like cringe in pain before they even got to him? Like he was like, oh, or something. I don't know. Something's weird with Nardole.
It's something weird. I mean, I thought he was a robot.
I mean, I think that Missy's been controlling him. Maybe, I don't know. He puts on an act like he's mad about Missy, but why would he be mad about Missy unless he's heard things from the Doctor about her? But he hasn't really seen her do these things unless he watched things with the TARDIS about past things that happened. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe. I think there is something going to happen with Nardole, but I think it's more going to be something happens to him, and therefore the Doctor has to explain why he doesn't really care. And that's how we get to find out his origin story. It's probably going to be sad.
What, that he's a robot? He's really a robot?
Yeah, and that's why the Doctor doesn't care if he goes or something.
Oh, he cared when Handles died.
I cared when Handles died. I cried.
So
dude.
why wouldn't he care when a robot Nardole died?
Handles was a better character.
You know why Handles was awesome? Because Matt Smith's companions, and I know this is unpopular, sucked. That's why. We finally got a good companion. We got a K9.
I liked Amy Pond and Rory. I liked Matt Smith's companions.
Amy Pond and Rory were okay, but they just dragged them on. I mean, Amy and Rory, not Rory actually, Rory's alright, but Amy and, you know, Asylum of the Daleks, or as I call it, Asylum of the Garbage or something. It's the worst episode I've ever seen. But Amy is, she's so annoying in that episode.
Don't forget his companions, Kazra and Sardik, because how many Christmases they spent together.
Yeah, I know, but they just, the story should have ended, you know, sometime in season 6. But they dragged that on too much, and Clara dragged on too much. That's the thing with Moffat. He drags things on too much, but this is great with Bill because he can't. He's stuck for 1 season.
I think she's going to die next episode. Or, well, maybe the finale.
No, the trailer is making us think she's going to die with her in that costume with the side of the ring. Well, she's not. That's a classic
She's probably
training.
gonna become. So you think it's gonna be reversed, that she's alive at the end, and she's just not in the
I
Christmas.
think they want us to think she's going to die, but actually, Nada or someone else takes her place. Perhaps Missy.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it for tonight. We'll try to do a podcast tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.